Hey guys, so we really are kind of in the thick of things right now on an energetic level. Mars in an exact square to Neptune. We also have Saturn in square to Uranus. However, today, you guys, Uranus retrogrades back a degree and breaks the degree square, fourth and final square, ending today between Uranus and Saturn. So that is happening on one hand. Now, on another hand, we have Mercury coming into an opposition with Jupiter today. This is some expanded mental energy. There could be some big conversations, some big ideas, some big truth coming to us, some big revelations about something, likely pertaining to relationships or in regards to our own personal value systems and what we are discovering that we really do truly want for ourselves at this point in time. There is a lot wrapped up in the energy as it's playing out today. You guys, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's get into this chart. Let's see how all of this is coming together for us today, what our advice is for navigating, and what we may be able to anticipate in our experience on the ground. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. If you stick with me till the end of the report, as I always say, we're going to be looking at some tarot cards that also came out in correspondence with our astrology today, because I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality just to get a more well-rounded overview, viewpoint, perspective of what is unfolding for us on an energetic level. And we start with the astrology, so we're starting with the astrology. Deep breaths all the way around, you guys. We are just in it right now. We knew that this month of October was really going to be sort of like a crucial turning point month. Things really may be building to a head. We may find ourselves navigating some things that we thought we'd put behind us at this point in time, sort of rearing their ugly heads back around maybe, and, really causing us to question some things about ourselves or about our personal power or the direction that we're taking things, our progress or our ability to progress right now in this energy. Mars square Neptune could really be having us questioning what we've been putting our energy into, how we've been acting, how we've been behaving, and if we really are as powerful perhaps as we thought we were or as we think we are. And we need to not lose sight of the truth of our potential in this energy, because it really may be bringing about some discouragement. But you guys, it's also distorting reality. Mars and Gemini, this is the mentalized this is a mentalized Mars energy. This is what we're thinking about, like our thoughts about our ability to act, our thoughts about our personal power, our thoughts about our personal potency, our thoughts about like the effectiveness of our will. Okay, in a square with Neptune, Neptune dissolves things, Neptune breaks things down, Neptune is fog and like illusion and fantasy and not being able to see things clearly, and it dissolves things and it's mists. And when we're talking about this, like these thoughts about our own ability to act effectively or our own ability to like be like a powerful assertive force in the world, and having these like polarized ideas about that, and we put it in this square tense aspect with Neptune in Pisces that is just like disorienting us even further and like breaking it down through casting this illusion of impotency. I think that's the word. Like essentially we can't allow ourselves to like look at that screen or that projection or that presentation that Neptune is putting on, that distortion of information or understanding that Neptune is that casting that spell essentially that Neptune is casting over us right now, and internalize that is like the true state of our ability to be a force in the world. We need to not allow this energy to sort of let us think that we are just like failing and incapable of making what we want to happen actually happen. So that is sort of a challenge that's being presented to us in this energy. However, we have Jupiter and Mercury in an opposition today as well. And I do feel like this is actually going to be countering this Mars Neptune square dynamic that we have going on to an extent over this. I mean, it really started yesterday when Mercury entered the sign of Libra. Jupiter right now is at 2 degrees of Aries. So Mercury in the early range degrees of Libra is hitting that oppositional point to Jupiter in the early range degree, well, at 2 degrees of Aries right now. So this on one hand, this is big news. This is big information. This is something like opening our eyes to something, like seeing the bigger picture on something, gaining an expanded viewpoint or perspective. This is also restoring like a sense of faith and trust and belief in ourselves. Jupiter in the sign of Aries, this expands self-confidence and our personal truth as well. It gives us an expanded understanding of our personal truth when we have Mercury in the opposition to Jupiter, and also in the context of relationships. Now, we need to remember, you guys, Mercury is coming out of his shadow right now. Mercury is making a third swipe of the same degree ranges that Mercury has been at, has backtracked over, and is now coming back through again. Mercury's retrograde process started in Libra, retrograded back into Virgo, hit Venus exact on his way back into Virgo, was in a mutual reception with Venus for a large portion of that time. Very, very much so about helping us to redefine or rediscover or reevaluate our own personal preferences, our own desires about stuff. Like, what is the truth of our heart? That is really something that this Mercury retrograde was trying to show us. And as we are on the exit ramp now, heading out of Mercury's shadow, retracing the steps for the third time, coming back over these points, hitting the third Mercury-Jupiter opposition yet again in the sign of Libra, we should have a pretty well redefined understanding by this point in time of our preferences, of our desires, of what it is that we really want, especially in terms of relating to others in the context of this personal truth that we may have also discovered over the course of this Mercury retrograde period. Because that's really what it was. It's like discovering and reevaluating our own personal truths, our own preferences, our own value systems, and how that changes what we want and desire in the context of relating to others. It's like redefining our relationship to ourselves, and then as a result of that, the impact that has on how we are relating to others going forward. That's been our Mercury retrograde. And now here we are in Mars square Neptune energy, Saturn square Uranus energy, and we have the third pass, Mercury coming back into the opposition with Jupiter, this expansive energy that is expanding our perspective, and simultaneously in this Libra Aries axis, big Jupiter opposite Neptune. This is big conversations. This is just like stuff coming out of our mouth. This is just like the free flow of information that is just like coming on out. And I feel like we're having a lot of conversations about who we really are and what we really want in relationships at this point in time. And in the context of this Saturn Uranus square going on, for one, this is also energy that is really trying to shake the foundations of anything that has been in place for a long period of time, that is in any way limiting our ability to come in alignment with the truth of our like destiny and the truth of our potential and the organic path of growth that our soul wishes to align with in this life and in this experience. So you guys, like, and this is, this is a lot. This is a lot. Energy, it's like literally all over the place right now. This Mercury-Jupiter opposition is also very, very much tied into the Mars-Neptune square, because let's think about this. It's really empowering Mars. Mars, you guys, is the ruler of what sign? Mars is the ruler of Aries. Jupiter is in Aries. Jupiter is expanding the energy of Mars. I mean, all the while that Jupiter is transiting the sign of Aries. But considering the current dynamic of things, this is really expanding first of all, we do want to watch out for something today in this energy, and I will give this. There are likely to be a lot of people that are very, very much so overly identifying and attaching to their ego in terms of their ideas, like really, really identifying with their ideas. And with this polarization of ideas energy in Mars, the war fire planet in the sign of ideas, there could be lots and lots of fights going on today as Jupiter and the sign of Aries ruling Mars is expanding its influence on Mercury opposite Jupiter, Mercury ruling the sign where Mars is placed. So this Mercury Jupiter opposition that we have playing out today is directly pertaining to whatever Mars is doing right now in the sign of Gemini. Jupiter in Aries ruled by Mars. Mars in Gemini ruled by Mercury. Mercury and Jupiter in an opposition with each other today. So this is really expanding whatever is going on in the Mars square Neptune influence. Energy generally though, probably a bit all over the place today. I said this yesterday as well. A lot coming to a head, blowing up or breaking down. This is specifically going to be regarding relationships and finances because of the Libra emphasis that we have at the moment. And we may know or feel like we need to do something or to make a choice or to make a change or to take some type of action, but we might like not know how to do it. Another major like piece of advice that I feel like is coming through on an energetic and symbolic level today, like I said in my intro, is that there's a real need to sort of allow our heart to guide us, allow like our passions and what we are just feeling like called to sort of like on a soul level right now, on a heart level, like that needs to be our compass, that needs to be our map, that needs to be our GPS guidance system. And we need to be, if we are like taking some action to move ourselves forward in one way or another right now, we should be more in alignment with that aspect of things as opposed to perhaps like our actual like ideas or the conversations that we're having or the thoughts and ideas and opinions of others, because there is an influence coming through that is talking about distorted perceptions clouding our ability to make a good choice in terms of the direction that we need to follow. But the symbolism coming through is saying like disregard the negative thoughts or the negative ideas or the mentalized distortions or the conversations, or again, like I said, the judgments, the opinions, the even the personal truths of others at this point in time. We can't align ourselves to those things because there's a distortion going on in the informational field with Mars and Gemini squaring Mercury in, or squaring Neptune in Pisces. But what we can rely on much more so in this energy is being like committed to our heart and making smart choices, moving us in that direction. So I want to say that as well before I forget. But the advice of the planets overall in the context of all that is playing out right now is that we really need to stay grounded and focus on the goals that we have for our future. Today we have really like 5 things playing out that I'm looking at. First of all, we have this Mercury-Jupiter opposition going on. This energy really did sort of start yesterday when Mercury entered the sign of Libra, again coming back into the opposition with Jupiter. We also have Uranus today, retrograding back a degree, moving out of exact square to Uranus, breaking the square for the 4th and final time, this Saturn square Uranus go around. So we're making progress, you guys. Progress is being made in one way or another. And the sun is also bringing this up to us as well today, because we have the sun actually and Venus, ruler of our Libra cycle that we are in right now, both in a trine to Saturn. Now, this is not an exact trine today. The sun is a degree ahead and Venus is a couple degrees behind the exact trine to Saturn. But Venus and the sun are in a conjunction right now. And this is a very close trine that is playing out between these 3 planets. And this is actually also indicating that we have an ability right now to really make some progress if we can stay focused, sort of slow down, make sure that we are not like making rash or impulsive actions, making careful plans, being organized. Like this type of thing is very supported in the energy. We also, of course, have Mars and Neptune in that exact square, and we do have a moon in Taurus today that is going to be moving into Gemini throughout the course of the day. So the moon, we start the day with the moon putting more of an emphasis on the Uranian energy. We had the moon making the conjunction to Uranus yesterday. The last full day of our exact Uranus-Saturn square yesterday, we had the moon forming the conjunction to Uranus, really activating that dynamic, while the sun was an exact trine to Saturn, both luminaries hitting that aspect yesterday. And then the very next day, we have Uranus retrograding back, bringing the final break to that square. But the moon, we do start the day with the moon in Taurus, so there could be be more of these Uranian flavors going on to start our day on Wednesday, but then the sun or the moon will move out of Taurus into the sign of Gemini, and this will put more of a prominence on this Mars square Neptune energy, and that's where we're going to be having the real trigger effect, I think, over this next couple of days while the moon is transiting the sign of Gemini. But all that being said, you guys, like I said, the advice of the planets now is to stay grounded and focused on the goals that we have for our future. The sun and Venus in the trine to Saturn in Aquarius, we really have an ability to use our mental energy right now in a very constructive way to make some concrete plans that will be successful in moving us towards our goals going forward. And if we are feeling a bit discombobulated or confused or all over the place, that is the best way to use our energy. In this energy, we need to concentrate and put some focused effort into planning our next moves right now, but it needs to be done. And this is like the linchpin right here. This is the crucial part of this. It needs to be done in a way that is very careful, meticulous, discerning. And I really do feel like a lot of what we're dealing with in this energy that is coming up right now is going to have to do with relationships, finances. Also, it could be like creative or artistic projects or just like other people generally, with this emphasis playing out with the sign of Libra, Venus ruling Libra and Libra, the sun in Libra, Mercury also now in Libra as well. And with Mars and square to Neptune, Saturn square Uranus, we, like I've been saying, we don't have that much control over what's playing out right now. But with the sun and Venus in the trine to Saturn, what we do have control over is ourselves and the actions, our responses to things in the moment. That's one thing that we really need to be careful of in this energy. And like I said, we need to be very, very mindful about what we're saying, what's coming out of our mouth, and the way that we are responding and acting to things. We don't want to allow ourselves to be just launching out in some type of spontaneous or impulsive or rash action based on something that we're hearing or something that we're saying or some type of impulse that's hitting us. Like, this is generally not going to lead to the best outcome or the best results for us in this energy. But with the Jupiter Mercury opposition going on today and Mars and Gemini squaring Neptune, this is not necessarily like helping us with this, self-control dimension and dynamic of things, because this does have a tendency to give us a big mouth, and Mars and Gemini already has us bubbling over, ready to explode, to say what's on our mind, regardless of the harshness that may come with that. Mars and Gemini really needs to say what we got on our mind, and usually can be a very explosive or eruptive type of way. And Jupiter in Aries, Mercury in opposition, this could definitely be sort of expanding that today. But like I said, with the Sun, Venus trine to Saturn, our ability to practice a little bit of self-control and self-discipline is also being supported. This is a very sort of back and forth dimension of things. On one hand, we have this energy that is really supporting our ability to be practical and be grounded and be self-disciplined and be self-controlled and sort of put our nose to the grindstone and really get some hard, efficient, productive, practical work done towards our goals in alignment with that which we truly desire. Venus being there as well, but on the other side of things, sort of, we are just got these big ideas and these big things to say, and Mars and Gemini, we really may be not holding back when it comes to these expressions of whatever happens to be on our mind. So it can go both ways. But what we do know about Mercury in the opposition to Jupiter, generally big conversations about what is fair, Libra, and what we want for our personal truth. I have already mentioned this a little bit regarding relationships, specifically based on this new relationship to ourselves that we are likely coming to. This whole Mercury retrograde, like I said, was about this process of rediscovering our truth. And now we're at a point of sort of applying that in the context of our relationships. And it may just be causing some things to be coming to a head or spilling over in this energy. But again, Saturn says, stay committed to our heart, stay the sun and Venus, stay committed to the, aligning with that which sets our heart on fire, that which lights us up inside. That is what is being facilitated right now. Any illusion illusion that we've been operating under, Neptune square Mars, any fantasy or any, distortion that we've been putting our time and energy into, any over idealization of something that we've been putting a lot of time and energy into is likely to be breaking down in this energy. And Saturn is really urging us to constructively move towards that which we feel really brings us to life on a heart-based level, with the Sun and Saturn and the Sun and Venus in the trine to Saturn. And it's, like I said, this energy, Mercury opposite Jupiter, it is supersizing this Mars square Neptune energy, but again, like destroying on one hand these illusions and these fantasies and these over idealizations of things, which also makes sense because Mercury opposite Jupiter, Jupiter does rule truth. Mercury is the mind, so we are seeing the truth about things in Libra that have gone on in the context of relationships that is really causing this massive change to our personal status quo, busting us out of any perhaps self-imposed prisons that maybe we've been existing within because of a fantasy or a delusion or just a self-limiting belief or feeling like, we didn't have the energy or the willpower to move forward. Like, all of this is seeking to be rectified in this energy as it's playing out today. But it also may be, the expansive energy of Jupiter and this Mercury energy. And we're talking about Mars and Neptune. Like, it could be disorienting us as well in terms of what we're actually discovering, like sort of putting us in a place where everything has changed so much that we don't know what to do next, what way to go, which way is up, which way is down. And it could also like really be causing some escapism tendencies as well. Like, we may feel like we just want to escape from whatever scenario we find ourselves in. After like we've realized this truth, we may just want to like disappear from the whole scenario, but obviously, we can't. And the advice is to make a practical, careful, grounded plan of action that we can take to like carefully extract ourselves from whatever situation. We want to be very, very careful taking action now. We don't want to just jump into things. We need a solid plan if we are going to be successful in our action in this energy. And it is indicated, Mars square Neptune, this can bring discouragement and disappointment based on our actions, but we also have the trine going on to Saturn as well. Mars still wrapped up in a loose grand trine, Sun, Venus, Mars, Saturn. Practical, careful, discerning, well thought out action is supported for success going forward, but we need a plan. And it needs to also, very important in this Mercury Jupiter energy, take into account the small details, the fine print, like the real, more intricate parts that we may overlook because because Jupiter and Mercury has a tendency to give us a very lofty overview, bird's eye view perspective. However, it can really diminish our ability to see the important, like, on the ground details that are necessary to make this overall plan work. So a lot of times we can sort of get ourselves in a little bit of a conundrum with Jupiter Mercury opposition if we're sort of leaping into something without really, taking into account, like I said, like the more fine print aspects of whatever is required for that overall picture to come into effect. And with the Sun and Venus also in the trine to Saturn, Saturn also requires attention to detail, like a prominence placed on, the fine details, the fine print, really combing through things and making sure we have all of our ducks in a row and all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed and like all of that type of stuff. That is what is being supported. So if we feel disoriented, if we feel like we need to escape from something, if we feel like we need to rearrange our lives in a certain way to better reflect who we're becoming at this point in time in this energy, and we are removing ourselves from various situations or scenarios, or if we are disoriented in this process and don't know how to act, making a basic plan, you guys, careful, organized, strategic, well thought out, that accounts for those details, that accounts for the fine print and like what really needs to happen on like a more small scale basis as well. This is what is going to be supportive of our success moving forward, or just generally help us to feel more productive and less discouraged in this energy. But anything reckless, anything impulsive or overly lofty or like fantastical, this is what is not, probably going to work out or lead to some type of disappointment as this energy unfolds. Mercury opposite Jupiter does generally lift our spirits. And I do feel like this is a positive, again, like counterbalance or counter effect to what we've had going on and what we have going on and what we will have going on with this Mars and square to Neptune, just, for this week and this couple of days, bringing back the sense of self-confidence and hope, especially, with Jupiter inside of Aries. That's what that does. And Mercury there, it's like we can see ourselves in a stronger light in this energy where we really may have been feeling more discouraged, again, about our ability to act and be successful over this past few days, really kind of maybe since the month of October started. So this really is beneficial to us in the face of that Mars square Neptune energy. But again, I do want to say, we want to be careful that we are not getting overly attached to our ego. We're getting like an overblown or grandiose sense of ego in this energy, or like sense of self-righteousness, because a lot of people probably will be channeling the energy along those lines. Like this really can bring just like a very egoic attachment to our ideas, to our perspectives, thinking that, we're the only ones that know the truth and we're the only ones that know what's right or wrong. And then, with Mars there, really willing to like fight to the death to defend that as well. But that may be a dimension of, what is causing these relationship breakdowns and what is actually facilitating our ability to release ourselves from situations that haven't been in alignment with us as a result of perhaps some personal truths that we've been coming to. And then also simultaneously, how people are revealing themselves to us at this point in time. This is a very revealing energy. People are likely to be very much so demonstrating their true colors in this energy without even realizing that they're doing it. So I feel like we're likely to be finding out a lot about people through them telling on themselves, and then us, really reevaluating what we want to continue to put our energy into in those regards going forward. But we do need to make sure that we are not getting overly attached to our ego today. And in terms of the Sabian symbols coming out, there is also this sense going on that we need to try to keep the best and like most lighthearted attitude as we can as we go through this process, because we truly are being supported through, what may feel like a metaphorical sort of like winter of the heart and soul at this point in time. And we are at a turning point, you guys. Like we are at a point of some major change, but there is a rebirth right around the corner and a whole new day sort of on the brink of things. But we really just need to trust the process and stay in alignment with the truth of our heart, not abandon the truth of our heart based on like false ideas, essentially, that may be sort of flooding the field of consciousness at this point in time. Because Mars square Neptune, this disorients and distorts perception and truth of what is actually happening. The Mars energy, the Mars influence, things are not as they seem right now. We have the sun or the earth today at 20 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a young girl feeding birds in winter. So there is support there for us, you guys, during, what may feel like a more emotionally cold period of time where we may be having to go through a lot of just more difficult circumstances and things that we need to navigate. Like there is a force that is trying to help bring us back to life or sustain us through this process. Mercury at 3 degrees of Libra today, the dawn of a new day, reveals everything changed with the ideas that we're coming to right now, like what we are figuring out, what we are realizing really may be changing, shifting our entire paradigm in one way or another, really maybe awakening us to something, or, marking the end and the beginning of like a new era in our lives and in our experience based on this mentalized shift that is going on in this energy and this rediscovery of our personal truth. I feel like is what it boils down to for the most part. And then we have Mars, 24 degrees of Gemini, carefree children skating on ice, and Jupiter, 2 degrees of Aries, a comedian entertaining a group. So again, like I do feel like we need to try our best to take things as in the most lighthearted way as possible, not get too attached to that which appears to be happening right now, because there is so much distortion in the field, in our ability to perceive reality accurately. And the carefree children skating on ice, like sort of a universal reminder to us today to try our best to keep more of a lighthearted attitude about things, try our best not to take ourselves or what's playing out too seriously and keep our eye on the bigger picture while simultaneously accounting for, the details and whatever plans we're making at this point in time. But with Mercury opposite Jupiter, you guys, I do feel like this is really going to be offsetting more of the negative mentality that we may have been dealing with lately with the Mars square Neptune. And we may just be feeling like a renewed sense of self-confidence and ability to, just trust ourselves and trust our process and the energy as it is unfolding today. Overall, I feel like today is really just putting a large emphasis on relationships, like I said, finances, the truth about our feelings being revealed to us, maybe, or to people that really need to hear about it. Again, speaking our mind, very emphasized in this energy. Also, breakdowns that happened as a result of people perhaps speaking their mind in quite a big way today, and putting energy into staying grounded, putting energy into practical work and effort towards our goals, making careful, well thought out, very discerning and discriminating plans for the future can help us in this energy today. Again, if we're feeling a bit out of control or all over the place, putting some work or some thought. This is also a trine that's happening in air signs. This is about ideas. This is about grounding our mind, grounding our ideas, and really practically thinking about what we need to do to move towards that which lights up our heart, right? The sun and Venus together. And that's the other aspect of the advice that's coming through today. If we are feeling discouraged, if we are feeling disoriented, if we don't know what way to go or what to choose or what to act, this energy is also telling us to follow our heart, follow that which does light up our heart, align with this Venus Sun energy in the sign of Libra, and allow that to be our truth at this point in time, instead or over of perhaps this negative self-talk or these, more discouraging ideas that may be coming to us at this point in time, or again, information or opinions or judgments or viewpoints or the personal truths of other people. Those are not what we can look to benefit us. Other people's advice may not be the direction that we want to take to actually get some productive results towards what we wish to experience in our lives at this point in time. So we're following our heart today, you guys. And that being said, that is what I have to say for the astrology. Let's talk about the tarot for a minute. The message is super duper clear, and I've actually been stating it throughout the course of this report. It's very straightforward in the context of the energy that is coming through in the astrology as well today. We've got the Queen of Wands making an appearance, you guys, upright first, followed by the Chariot. It can't get more clear than that. This is directly talking about allowing our heart, our passions, that which lights us up inside, that which is making us feel alive at this point in time, that which our heart wants to manifest and wants to grow and is called towards, and that which we are feeling passionately driven towards at this point in time. That needs to be our compass. That needs to be our direction. That needs to be the energy that we are harnessing to fuel our forward movement at this point in time, and not what? On the back of the deck, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Not the distortion, not the Mars and Gemini air sign, right? Mars and Gemini square Neptune and Pisces energy. Not the advice and the opinions and the judgments and the personal truths of other people that may be very out of alignment with what it really is that we need to grow in accordance to the truth of our heart. Or again, these feelings or these thoughts of discouragement, these negative thought loops, these negative patterns, or what we are the false presentations that reality is giving us at this point in time. Queen of Swords in reverse. We are not seeing the truth. We are not seeing things clearly. The information that we have is not the true state of things. That we are midway through a plan right now. We are not seeing the full outcome. It's like when you're baking a cake, when you have the batter together and it's sitting in the cupcake trays, that is not the cake. That is not what you're getting at the end. That is a soupy mess that you cannot eat properly, really with a fork or a spoon. I don't know, but that's not the finished outcome. That's where we're at right now. We're sort of in the batter stage of whatever we are baking, or we are in the goo stage of the butterfly when it's in its chrysalis before it transforms, goes from caterpillar to butterfly. We're We're like in the goose stage. You know what I mean? Like we aren't seeing the truth about things. But if we can use and keep our heart and our passions and what we are being like intuitively called to, this is also a very intuitive card to me. I feel like the Queen of Wands with the black cat here and everything. I feel like if we are allowing ourselves to be guided by our heart over like our rational in this energy, which is not, there is no rationality right now, you guys, with Mars and Gemini and square to Neptune and Pisces. Like it's just not. Under that, on the back of the deck, actually, we have the Ace of Coins followed by the Ace of Wands. So, you know, this is saying our opportunities, the fresh starts, what we're looking for, this rebirth, this dawn of a new day, everything's changed, like the next phase of things, where we're going next, what universe is trying to literally hand to us at this point in time. We can only move in that direction right now if we are following our heart, following our intuition, following our passions, and literally disregarding the false appearances of things that, you know, maybe keeping us in a state of fear or imbalance or uncertainty or not knowing what to do, not understanding or seeing the truth about things. You know, although with Jupiter opposing Mercury today, we are seeing the truth of things, but Mercury in the sign of Libra, what are we seeing the truth of, you guys? We're seeing the truth of our heart. So we are being shown the truth of our heart. That is what we put our willpower and assertiveness behind. If we're going to go in a direction, we're going to go in that direction. That will lead us to some very beautiful and divinely aligned fresh starts. But we really need to not allow ourselves to be pulled off course by a lack of ability to see the direction that is going, or just these mentalized energies that may be a distortion of the actual reality right now that could potentially pull us off course. So that's what the tarot says to you guys. Like, we need to follow our heart. Let's grab one more card now. Synchronicity card, God, Spirit, Universe. What can benefit us in this energy? And we've got one falling onto the floor, and it says, you guys, don't fight it. So that is what we are not doing today. We are not fighting what is going on. We are surrendering to the process and the changes, and we are following the truth of our heart in the face of whatever obstacles that may be presenting, because we know that that is the path to our ultimate fulfillment. It just may take we may need to walk through like the fires of hell in one way or another to get there, but ultimately it will be worth it in the end. So it says, don't fight it. Release those subject to bondage, Hebrews 2:15. Whatever type of restriction or bondage you find yourself experiencing, don't fight against it mentally. That Mars, Gemini energy, this Queen of Swords in reverse. No, God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. We are heading towards, no, God will open up a new door for you. The hand of God literally handing us these new opportunities, but it is based on our ability to align with and follow our heart and stay out of the self-sabotaging energy that may come as a result of these negative thoughts or a negative mentality that may be plaguing us for one reason or another. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. A message from the stars, a message from the cards. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this kind of content, be interested in this type of astrology as well. Leave me comments, you guys. Love your comments. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really love hearing how this energy is affecting you. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social medias in my description below if you're into any of that. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We will have more astrology to talk about. We are really in the thick of things right now. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, everyone. Have a beautiful day. And until tomorrow, bye, guys.